Picture the heavy silence of a packed church, or the exact moment a coffin is lowered into the ground, and right in the middle of all that solemnity, a laugh starts rising inside you. No warning, no reason, no permission. It just comes. You don't actually find anything funny. You don't want to disrespect anyone. But the harder you try to stop it, the worse it gets, as if your own brain had turned against you. And yet almost nobody understands why this happens. The most common explanation is too simple: bad manners, immaturity, emotional coldness. But the strangest part is that this wrong moment laughter has nothing to do with finding something funny. And the detail almost nobody notices is that inside your brain, two entirely different regions are right now literally fighting for control of your face. To understand that fight, you have to go back tens of thousands of years to a time when small groups of humans lived surrounded by cold, hunger, and real predators. Picture a small band of people sharing the warmth of a fire, hearing a strange sound in the darkness around them, everyone perfectly still, ready to run or fight. In that world, surviving meant warning the group the moment a danger had passed, a short, involuntary, contagious sound that moved from one person to the next, saying without a single word, "Relax, we're safe now." That primitive signal is considered by those who study the origins of human behavior one of the most likely ancestors of laughter. If you enjoy discovering the hidden stories behind the most common human behaviors, laughter, fear, the way the brain reacts without asking for permission, it's worth sticking around and subscribing because your body carries far more ancient reflexes than you might think. But that still doesn't explain the fight inside your head. Michelle Spear, a professor of anatomy at the University of Bristol, explains that in highly formal environments, churches, courtrooms, funerals, the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for social judgment and self-control, enters a state of active inhibition. It doesn't erase the emotion, it just tries to hold back its outward expression. But at the same time, deeper and older brain structures, the limbic system, with the amygdala processing the emotion and the brainstem coordinating the muscles of the face and breathing, have already fired the response. The urge to laugh and the effort to suppress it are born in different parts of the brain. And they compete. It's as if one part of you is trying to hold the door shut, composed and in control, while another is already pushing against it with the full weight of your body. The harder the first part resists, the harder the second part pushes. And here's the most surprising part. The harder you try to suppress that laugh, the worse it gets. Suppression doesn't erase the funny thought. It replays it, keeps it alive, burns energy, and sooner or later, fails. When the laugh finally breaks free, it recruits automatic circuits in the brainstem that you can no longer override by willpower alone. You stop deciding to laugh. The system takes over, and you're powerless against your own face. But there's a second trigger, possibly even more powerful: the presence of another person. Humans are extraordinarily sensitive to subtle social signals: a breath that shifts, a suppressed smile, a tension in someone else's face. The brain processes those cues almost instantly, using regions specialized in reading other people. When you notice that someone beside you is also about to lose it, two things happen at once. Your reaction stops feeling like an isolated mistake, and the sense of transgressing alone disappears. Whatever control you had left collapses entirely, and the laughter spreads through contagion. Think of two people sitting side by side in a church pew, exchanging one single glance. In that instant, each one confirms to the other that they're not alone in this, and the wall that was still holding the laughter back falls down for both of them at the same time. This mechanism once served to calm an entire group after escaping a real threat. Today it shows up in a completely different context. Churches, courtrooms, and funerals are recent inventions, built to enforce silence, solemnity, and sustained control, exactly the kind of environment your brain was never designed for. There were no formal legal proceedings among the first humans, no liturgy, no structured mourning with black clothing and rows of pews, just the immediate present, the danger, and the relief. The world changed far too fast. The nervous system is still running an ancient program built for small groups around a fire, not for church benches in absolute silence. You've probably felt this in other ways. The laugh that escapes when you watch someone trip and fall badly instead of rushing to help. The laugh that rises exactly when someone is scolding you. The laugh that appears at a funeral, even though seconds before all you felt was the urge to cry. Or that moment in a tense work meeting when someone makes a serious mistake and the awkward silence turns, against your will, into a smile you have to swallow. In none of those cases is there any joke. There's only accumulated tension looking for a way out, and laughter being the fastest release valve your body knows. But this ancient mechanism comes at a high price in the modern world. In a small tribe, everyone understood that reflex laugh as part of the group's shared language. Today, among strangers, co-workers, or authority figures who never learned to read that signal for what it actually is, the same laughter can be mistaken for disrespect, coldness, or bad character. And someone can lose a manager's trust, a judge's patience, or a room's respect because of a reflex their own brain fired without asking permission. Picture someone losing their composure in front of a judge in a courtroom, or being caught smiling during an acquaintance's funeral. In both cases, the people watching don't see a brain in conflict. They just see someone who doesn't seem to be taking things seriously. And there's an even more extreme side to this. In rare cases, this control system breaks down permanently. A neurological condition called pseudobulbar affect causes a person to laugh or cry with no control at all, even without feeling the corresponding emotion. Proof that laughter, at its core, is more a motor circuit than a conscious choice. It's uncommon, but it's real, and it shows, at the extreme end, just how completely laughter can disconnect from the emotion it's supposed to express. And there's at least one documented case from the 1970s of a person who died after a laughing episode that lasted far longer than the body could handle. The same mechanism that 40,000 years ago helped keep a group alive can still push the body to its limits today, except now instead of a predator, the trigger might be a comedy show on television. And this is where the story stops being just a funny curiosity. It reveals that much of modern human behavior is, in fact, an ancient system trying to operate under rules that never existed when it was designed. Your brain still speaks the language of the small group, the physical threat, the immediate release of tension, even when you're sitting in a church pew, a conference room, or in front of bad news. The shame that comes after laughing at the wrong moment isn't proof that something is broken in you. It's proof that underneath all of civilization, there's still a social animal trying in its own clumsy way to keep the group safe. The next time a laugh escapes you at the worst possible moment, in an awkward silence, in the middle of a serious confrontation, or right at a goodbye, maybe you won't just feel shame. There's nothing wrong with you. There's only an ancient system still on duty, doing the one thing it never forgot how to do. Maybe, just for a second, you'll be able to see tens of thousands of years of history fighting for control of your own face, an old body still trying in its imperfect way to tell the world that, in spite of everything, you're still here.